Welcome back under our third caution. This one for Buster Graham, getting turned around in turns 3 and 4. No contact made, so the field made their way onto pit road.
You know, we showed Scott Lagasse flipping switches in his car. You can see right here the problem we found out. Now, Ray reported on it during our commercial break that he had a battery go bad. A lot of these teams will have 2 batteries in the car. Scott, because this is a strange car to him, didn't know where the switch was for the second battery. We talked about it, him switching ignition switches. That wasn't the problem. It was a battery problem, because these Mallory ignition boxes have been pretty indestructible.
You know, one of the biggest costs of running a stock car program in any division has to do with what's under the hood. The engine program certainly costs you a lot of money. And we were approaching engines that were turning 10,000 RPMs. But the ARCA series presented by Menards came up with a good solution about 7 years ago. They went to Mallory Ignitions and said, how can we keep these engines from turning so many RPMs? Well, with the ignition box that the ARCA cars have right now, they're limited to 8,800 RPMs. And when the cars come through the inspection line here, the officials actually draw out a random number and give them an assigned ignition box system. Now, there's an A box and a B box, of course, in case you run into a problem. And there are 7,500 times these have been into a car over the course of 7 years, and they're approaching nearly 1,000,000 miles without a major failure. This is a great system that limits the RPMs and saves the race car owners lots and lots of money.
You know, that was a pretty good idea for him to record that earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so, too. I don't know how he knew what I was going to talk about, but that's great.
Your point. Yeah, exactly how good Mallory ignition systems are here in the ARCA Racing Series. Field all in line once again behind that 41 of Ty Dillon. And coming back to the green flag, Dillon just in front of Alex Bowman, both with a great restart.
Remember, we have some cars behind these leaders with fresh tires. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be able to drive by him with those fresh tires. Right now, Cale Gale is going to move up. He gets by Tim George.
What will the advantage be with fresher tires? We're about to find out. Again, Ty Dillon coming onto pit road, just getting fuel so that he would make sure to be able to make it the remaining 43 laps in this race.
Right now, the thing that Ty Dillon has going for him is the fact that most of the cars immediately behind him are in the same situation as he is. They just put fuel only that time.
Alex Bowman running second. Chris Buescher in the 17 is third. Cale Gale's moved up into the 4th spot, and then it's Tim George Jr. in 5th.
Remember, that Scott Lagasse, that black number 20 car, he's 1 lap down right now because of that battery situation. Only lost 1 lap, but right now we have a lucky dog in the ARCA Racing Series, but no wave around. That's why right now Scott had to restart this race side by side with Ty Dillon.
And Scott Lagasse's currently scored in the 20th spot. So we have 19 cars on the lead lap. Mariette Defoe, the most recent recipient of the Aaron's Lucky Dog, she is at the tail end of the lead lap.
That was a nice gift from Mariette. Glad to see her back here. She hasn't run the last few races in ARCA Racing Series. Good to have her back.
Yeah, after a very impressive, I think, run at Pocono, where she came from the back and made it all the way up to a 13th place finish.
I believe it was, yeah. Nice job of Mariette. Talked to her in the garage here, and she will be at Toledo next week for our finale.
Chris Buescher on the inside. On the outside, that 55, Alex Bowman. So Buescher able to take the spot away from Bowman, moves up into the 2nd position now, giving chase to that 41 of Ty Dillon.
Yeah, that's about the first car we've seen pass Alex Bowman this race. So right now, Chris Buescher's car, they may have made some adjustments on that last pit stop. Only got fuel, but right now the adjustments may be working for him. There's Tom Hessert, the 52 Federated Auto Parts, pink number 52.
Chad Hockenbrot trying to move to the inside of that 32. Ryan Wilson able to make the pass.
Chad able to make the pass on the Tasty Apple car. That's the same car he had in Chicago, and he was on his way to winning that race in Chicago. Ty Dillon, who ended up winning the race, said, I have nothing for the 58. He cut down a right front tire, made contact with the wall. Ty Dillon ended up winning that race, but Chad's been close since then. Hasn't got to victory lane yet, though.
Hockenbrot running in the 12th spot now. It's been all Ty Dillon. He has been dominant, leading 56 of the 60 laps here at Kansas Speedway. Being chased now by Alex Bowman. Welcome back to Kansas Speedway. We take a look at our mid-race recap, brought to you by Messina. Out in front of this field at the beginning, it was Max Gresham in the 25, but early on, the 41 of Ty Dillon wanted to lead the first lap, and he gets there.
He certainly did from the 2nd row starting spot. Ty Dillon jumps out and dominates early.
First caution came out. The field came onto pit road, and problems for the 17 of Chris Buescher after running well in the top 5. He'll have to restart outside the top 10 and work his way back up.
Michael Levine in the 95 car brings out caution number 2. Gets turned around, has a flat right front tire, makes his way back to pit road.
Third caution comes out when Buster Graham in the 59 gets sideways, working his way through 3 and 4 into the grass. No contact with any of the walls or other cars. So a relatively easy spin through the grass. Messina Wildlife Management mid-race recap. Ty Dillon has been out front and a lot of laps led as we saw Tim George Jr. in the background there make his way onto pit road, and smoke coming out from behind that race car.
That might have been brakes right there. Wendy, did he lock the brakes up coming in?
Well, we are watching the 31 come in right now. We weren't sure if he did lock them on that last stop, but he took fuel only on that last caution. But definitely a right front was going down, was the report from Tim George. So we're going to look at that tire. But it's going to be a 4-tire stop right now for Tim George. And he had come in, had restarted 4th, dropped back to 7th. So this definitely ruins Tim George's day. And they are holding him for too fast entering pit road. A penalty that Tim George Jr. has to serve now. And you can just see through the window net Tim's face. I know this is just killing a driver, and he's been cleared to get back on the track.
Yeah, Wendy, he was running in the 7th spot right now, or when he made his pit stop. See Max Gresham also getting by Alex Bowman, right side of your screen. Meanwhile, left side, Rick, Chris Buescher has closed up the gap from 1st to 2nd.
Yeah, things are heating up. The last time by, it was just over 1/10 of a second that separated the top 2. That time by 2/10 of a second were gained by Ty Dillon. So Chris Buescher now 3/10 of a second behind race leader Ty Dillon.
There's teammate to Ty Dillon, Tim George, after he comes back on the racetrack. I think he still has some sort of an issue with his car. He's a little bit tentative right there, although he got in the throttle good in the center of the corner.
Again, thought he had a tire coming down, a right front tire, so he came onto pit road. Here's a good battle for the 9th spot. Chad McCumbee in front of Tom Hessert. Hessert making the move on the inside, and McCumbee chases his race car up the racetrack.
I think Tom may be one of the guys that put tires on that most recent caution flag.
A little bit of damage, it looks like, to the left front of Chad McCumbee's race car, that number 1. So maybe a little bit ill handling for McCumbee.
Still maintaining a top 10 spot right now, running in the 9th spot. Tom Hessert back to 10th.
So it's Ty Dillon, Chris Buescher, Cale Gale, Max Gresham, Alex Bowman, Grant Enfinger, Matt Lofton, Frank Kimmel running in the 8th spot, Tom Hessert 9th, and McCumbee is 10th.
Hey, remember, that's the same Matt Lofton that spun out qualifying, had to start at the back, and that Strutmasters.com Chevrolet. That's Coulter Motorsports. That's the same team that Joey Coulter ran for the last 2 years in the ARCA Racing Series. Matt doing a great job right now, looking at possibly going full-time next year in that car with Coulter Motorsports.
There's Cale Gale closing the gap on the 2nd place, Chris Buescher now. So after Buescher was oh so close to Ty Dillon to challenge him for the lead, now he's got his hands full with Cale Gale just behind him in that ream number 33.
This is Cale's 3rd start. He finished 2nd at Iowa, but remember, he was dominating that race at Michigan when he cut down a right front tire and made contact with the wall, end up giving that win to Ty Dillon. So Cale's been extremely fast in this KHI Ream Chevrolet.
Phil Z.
Yeah, buddy.
You ready for a clue on my trivia?
Oh, I forgot all about that, Ray. Sorry about that.
Didn't we already name all 8?
No, you only got 3 of the 8. This is fathers and son combinations who have won in this series. 2 of the groups come from your hometown, Detroit.
Detroit, Michigan. Well, I know 2 brothers from Detroit, Michigan won in the ARCA series.
Ray, this was the piece of paper you handed Ron Drager earlier today, wasn't it?
We've been working on it for quite some time.
Because you said, don't give up any of the names on that list, but I want you to look at it. ARCA Racing Series President Ron Drager was helping Ray out a little bit with this list, I believe. But talking about fathers and sons that have won in the ARCA Racing Series, as we continue to watch the great racing on the racetrack. Cale Gale in front of that 25 of Max Gresham, but still chasing after the 17 of Chris Buescher.
Hey, that's 1st through 4th right there, just separated by no more than about a second.
So Max Gresham coming back into the picture in this race after winning the pole earlier today, now challenging for the 3rd spot with Cale Gale just in front of him.
And Max's car looks better than it has the entire race right now. has chased down this second-place battle of Buescher and Cale Gale.
Buescher taking a higher line into turn number 1. Still working around some of the slower lap traffic here. They go by the 98 of Chad Freewall.
What a great battle for second here. Looked like Chris Buescher was going to chase down that 41 of Ty Dillon, have something for him. Now he has his mirror full of Cale Gale and Max Gresham.
So while Ty Dillon continues to tack on the laps, Dillon actually has gone over 600 laps led in 2011. An amazing statistic by that young man. And again, Ty Dillon putting together some phenomenal numbers this year at just the age of 19. Tim George Jr. again coming on to pit road. Thought they had problems with the right front of that race car. Still problems, Wendy?
No, I checked in with the tire specialist, and the tire pressures were fine on all the tires, including the right front, that there was a feeling that it was going down for Tim George Jr. So definitely, I know I've never been in the driver's seat, Phil, but you can maybe explain that, what a driver could be feeling in the race car when a tire they feel like is going down.
It's just something different. I mean, for some reason, the car feels different than it did before. Remember, we had green flag pit stop. There was a possibility that maybe Tim slid the tires coming in for his pit stop that he didn't change tires on, so there may have been a little bit of a flat spot or something like that on one of his front tires.
Now the 25 of Gresham able to get by Cale Gale. So Max Gresham has moved up into the 3rd spot now and trying to take second away from Chris Buescher. He goes all the way down to the apron to make the pass, and Max Gresham back up into the 2nd spot.
Max Gresham was the fastest car on the racetrack that last lap while he was making a pass.
The 2nd fastest race car, Ty Dillon, out in front of this field. And right now it's 9/10 of a second that separate the top 2. They continue to work around the slower lap traffic. It's been all Ty Dillon, but here comes pole winner Max Gresham. He's in 2nd and hungry here in the ARCA Racing Series.